Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of I Got This. You're here now with Ayse Hogan, that's me, the visionary and strategist of IAUSM, which is the International Academy of Universal Self-Mastery. I got this. I meaning the universal I, all of us included in that I. And whether we like to believe it or not, we're all one. As individual as we are, we're still all very connected to each other. And I think, being that we're in the middle of a pandemic right now, we're all seeing that more than ever, how connected we actually are, even though we feel very disconnected. And in that disconnection, a lot of things are showing up. And one of those things is, people endangering their own lives simply because they are falling into depression, or they feel so disconnected, or they feel stuck, or whatever that is. And that's really the purpose of From Bottom to Top. It's to let you know that we've all in our lives hit bottom. Many of us have hit bottom, where we feel naked, where we feel raw, where we feel like we don't have any options. We don't know where to go from here. And you're not alone in that. And so 40 beautiful authors have gotten together, and one of them is with us today, Miss Jennell Cook. And she is here to share a little bit, not her story, but her thoughts about her story with you today. So Jennell, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited and honored to be here. It's a pleasure.
Thanks. And it's a pleasure to have you here too. I just learned so much from all of the authors, but there's been this one consistent theme, all the way through all of it. And it's really been choices and decisions has been a big theme all the way through it. And when we think we have no choices, we don't realize that we're making so many choices, and every minute we're making choices. So, we make choices all the time. So we're really paying attention to those. So tell me a little bit about who and where you are in your life right now, Jennell.
Well, who I am, I think, is a little bit of an ongoing discovery. Yeah, there's been many, many ups and downs. And who I am is I am really a helper. I love to help and teach people. We all get kind of knocked off our path sometimes. And without getting too much into my story, yeah, that's kind of who I am. I like to help people and help them find their way and show a way. In particular, my vocation is with health, alternative health. So that's kind of my direction of who I am. Yeah.
Awesome. So you said something there which kind of piqued my interest, where you said, sometimes we get knocked off our path. Do you ever think that is part of the path?
I do think it is part of
off?
the path. Absolutely. I think sometimes we need to get knocked off in order to figure out, or sort of reposition and rethink of where we are. Sometimes we get lost. And I think we all get lost. And not everybody is always so focused and on task, and we lose our way sometimes. So, I think it's a very normal part of the process and necessary. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I sometimes wonder if it makes us appreciate our path even more.
Absolutely. Very true. Yes.
So in your life, when did you know? When was that moment that you knew, or the moments that you knew that you'd hit bottom? There was some danger signs. When did you know when you were in trouble?
Well, there was a couple of times. I was faced with a really big challenge young in life. And of course, that's part of my story. And it involved my mother. And it was a very scary, dark time. And I just knew, because I was faced with the realization that I could, life could change in that moment forever. And there were some decisions to make, and that was pretty obvious. And then there was a second time later on in life when I was older, and I had a store and a business, and everything went up in smoke, quite literally. And I was faced with some really big challenges of which direction do you go? They're like, in that moment, one decision could literally change everything.
Right.
And, you just have to explain how that really comes about. It's absolute certainty, and it comes deep from within, really.
Sometimes sometimes our bottom, like my bottom, when I think about it, it was a series of really bad decisions, right? So, and just and dysfunction in my life. And for others, sometimes, and it sounds like some of that might have been you, is unexpected things happen.
Yes.
Unexpected things happen that you have no control over,
Yeah.
and you're not prepared for, because you just didn't think that you needed to be. Right.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, something that feels safe is now gone. And it's a huge challenge to feel like you've had the floor ripped out from underneath you. Absolutely.
Big challenge. Yeah. And very scary, very scary. Sometimes you feel very alone, and you're scared of every choice that you think you could make or would make, because you don't know what the outcome might be. And sometimes you have to decide. You need to take that leap of faith, and don't lose that.
True. And also, I'm sure there's like a voice coming out of every head, right? Like, of what you need to be doing and what you should be doing, and you should do this and you should do that. And why didn't you do this? And like, so I'm sure there's a lot of that happens. And more than ever at that point, you need to listen to your intuition and close out all the noise. It's nice to hear choices, things you wouldn't have considered doing. I think that's important to listen, but it's also important to not just jump in impulsively.
Definitely.
And really think about what you're going to do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
And sometimes when we think we don't have choices, we really do. If we just kind of quiet ourselves and just really listen, it really does come deep from within, or at least that's been my experience. You just have to quiet the noise sometimes and just listen to your own gut.
The one thing that, has been consistent also through these interviews that I've been doing is that the thought of obstacles has changed. Everybody loves an opportunity. Who doesn't love an opportunity, right? But I think that the best opportunities are the obstacles, because they just create learning. They create growth. They definitely create challenges, but they also create, I don't know, like positive resources in you, strengths
like
that you didn't know you had. Yeah.
It's like empowerment, when you overcome certain things, no matter how big or small they are, they add up, and it's almost like this stacking, and you grow and you get stronger, and you work your way through it, and you think, wow, I did that. I could do that.
Right. And I know when we get hit up, we doesn't feel like it in the moment. But if people could realize that, like, even when you got everything, like not everything, when things are going your way and you're on your path, on your way to the top, wherever that is, you still hit obstacles. Like there's no like time in life where obstacles are not going to show up. So if you could sort of think about it, like, when I get an obstacle now, I'm like, what are you here to teach me? And instead of getting upset or mad, which I used to, or, all drama about an obstacle, it's, how do, what are you here to show me? What are all the possibilities that are opening up to me now because you showed up?
Yes. Yes. And it's always an opportunity, right? To learn something, to grow, to develop something, to work on something that you needed to work on, right? Because we're all sort of, we all hit that, that's just part of life. And it's out of those experiences that you really figure out who you are and where you're going. And you just,
I don't think you really grow from an obstacle that was just handed to you.
No.
Maybe. I don't think so. Unless, there's probably the rare occasions, but I think, to really feel fulfillment and know that you're in the right place or whatever, I think it's the opportunities. I think it's I call them now opportunities with a challenge.
Yes. That's fantastic. That's a great way of saying it, because they are all opportunities, and when we are at that bottom, when we are just completely, you can't get any lower. I mean, I always remind myself that there's nowhere else to go but up. So, okay, this is the bottom. This is what the bottom looks like. Now let's just one step in front of the other, one moment at a time. Sometimes it's 1 minute before the hour or the day or the week, right?
Yep.
It's just
Absolutely. You
moments.
got to just slow your roll. I think, that's
Yeah.
especially it, because we feel in this time, everything goes so fast now that we feel like we have to make our decisions quickly, and we don't. Like,
That's
we
right.
really don't. There's no rule out there that says you have to come up with an instant answer. You can think. You can slow yourself down completely and think. And
Yeah.
even if everyone is coming at you a million miles an hour, you can still be like, find that silence within you and just listen, but
Yeah.
make no decision.
That's right. Yeah.
Let your decision to make no decision be your decision. And then when the right one shows up, you can make it. It's
Yeah.
important to do that and to own your shit. I think there's no other way for me to say that, but I think that in my life, which I haven't even been interviewed about my chapter yet, so I dabble it in these different places. But the one thing that I can say is that owning my choices and my life the way that it was, and saying, okay, I can't blame my parents, I can't blame other people, there's only so long I can ride the parent train. Like, so this is me. I did this, and how the
So
heck did I get
true.
myself here? And if I got myself here, I'm going to get myself out of here. I don't know how, but I'm going to do it. Right. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
really about owning it and not
Yeah.
blaming. You will never, ever get out if you blame. You have to own it.
Very true. So true. And sometimes it takes a while for us to realize that, right? And again, that's just part of the life process and maturing and going through these things, right? All these experiences and these life challenges and obstacles, it's all part of that. And like you said, you have to own your part. And then it gets easier over time. And you can sometimes accomplish some pretty amazing things when you just let go of all your stuff.
Yep, absolutely. And I think, this, when we make a choice, sometimes the choice is hard to make. The choice is hard to make because it's going to create some havoc or some chaos, while it's moving around. And I've really decided or chosen to see that havoc and chaos are very different. Havoc is like, you've got no control. It's like, it's crazy. It's like the dust storm, that's just going, and all you can do is find a place to hide. And then the chaos, that's the stuff that happens at the beginning of change.
Yes.
You don't just
That's so
slide
true.
into change, right? There's
Yeah.
always a bit of chaos. There's always a little bit of uprooting of things, right? There's always some change going on, and the way things is going to change. Everything changes. And how you talk to people, how they talk to you, a bunch of stuff changes. And that is the chaos. It's the stuff in the beginning.
Yeah, that's so true. Well said. Absolutely.
So don't be afraid of the chaos. If you've got chaos, it's good. That means that
Yeah.
there's some things changing, and that's a good thing. If it's havoc, then you've got to slow your roll a little bit and be like, okay,
Yes.
what is going on? I need to slow down the storm a little bit and take a step back and take a look at this.
Yeah, and it's okay to do that. It's okay to take steps back, reflect, but celebrate too your wins, even no matter how small they are, right?
Celebrate all the wins. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I'll use this as an example. Let's say somebody wants to lose 30 pounds. I'm just using that as an example because I'm a hypnotherapist and stuff like that comes up, right? So, people want to lose 30 pounds. Well, my biggest thing is, once you've lost 2 pounds, celebrate.
Yes.
Once you've lost 4 pounds, celebrate. Don't
Absolutely.
wait until you get to 30 to celebrate.
No, you're right. You can't do that. You have to just celebrate the wins, because then they just get bigger. It's like a snowball, that it starts off slow and small, and eventually it starts to grow and pick up momentum. And it's slow to get started sometimes, but that's when you really need to celebrate those.
Absolutely. And love yourself along the way.
Yes.
right?
Yes. Many
I
of
think,
us don't.
oh no, we wait to reach some kind of perfection that we're never going to get to because
Exactly.
we're perfect in every minute. We're
Yeah.
exactly where we're supposed to be. So, love yourself along the way. And if you think about somebody that you know in your life that you love, and again, I'm going to use, just because I'm going to use weight because everybody knows what that is, but you can apply this to any challenge that anyone's having, right? So if you have a son, a daughter, a mother, a father, whatever it is, and if they were trying to lose weight, do you wait to love them until they've lost the weight?
Exactly.
Right? But you don't. You love them along the
So
way. You don't even
true.
care if they stay that way, right? Like you
That's
love them
right.
like that, right? So you have to love yourself along the way.
Yeah. So important, and so many of us forget to do that. And you see a lot of that, I think, today, right? We don't love and accept ourselves and realize that we come with flaws and all, and it's growth and self-improvement, and you recognize and you learn and you grow along the way. That's part of the journey, and that's what makes it beautiful, and that's what makes you you,
Absolutely.
right?
There's this. Have you ever said, I believe it's a Chinese or Japanese. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. It's an art called Wabi-Sabi, right? And what that is they'll take like a broken piece of pottery or something, and then they fill it in with gold, and
Oh,
they recreate it with all the cracks made of gold, right?
wow.
And and the message is, the light shines through our cracks. The flaws are our cracks, and that's where the light shines through.
Nice, very nice. And it's true. It's very true. But sometimes it's scary to think of it in those terms. And oh my God, I have all these flaws or these problems, or
Yeah, but
I have
according
this
to who?
obstacle. Yeah,
According to who? That's another thing. You
exactly.
have these flaws according to who? Like,
Yeah.
like who says that? Is it the magazines that say that? Is it media that says that? Like, who
Yeah,
exactly decides that you're flawed?
exactly. So
Like,
true.
you know,
So true. It's only true if you believe it.
right? So what, like, if next week all of a sudden all the magazines said the best weight to be is, let's say, 20 pounds heavier than what you are right now, and that's what you have to be because that's the ideal, most beautiful, sexy weight, whatever it is,
Craziness.
right? Then all of a sudden we want to, we'll start eating, right? So it's
It's crazy.
it's we listen to this like cattle, we
Yeah,
go like cattle, we
we
forget to take care of
do.
ourselves. So you're flawed according to who said?
So true. So true. And like kids today, I mean, I have kids and I have grandkids, and it's so sad when I hear them talk like that. Like, there's no need for that. Love
No,
you
just don't
despite
be a
anything.
follower, be a
No,
leader. Not even a leader, just be you. Just be you.
yes.
And flawed according to who? And if someone comes up and tells you that they're flawed, that you're flawed, that's coming from where? Like
Yeah.
from someone who's also probably got flaws,
Yeah.
so
And you
flaws
have a
according to
choice.
who?
Yeah. And you have a choice. You can listen to that, you can believe that, or you can just say, well, that's your opinion. I have mine. That's
Exactly.
okay.
Exactly. And the one thing that I love to say is, like, it doesn't matter what you call that higher power, universe, source, God, Allah, Buddha, it doesn't matter what you call it. But here's the thing, spirit doesn't make mistakes. You
Oh,
know,
true.
spirit doesn't make mistakes. There's no such thing as a mistake, right?
Right.
So you're part of that bigger I. You are part of it, like a finger off a hand, right? So you are
Right.
part of it. There are no mistakes. There's just no mistakes, right?
Very true.
So, you know,
Very true.
spirit
And there's
doesn't.
many ways to see something and to look at something, So you can
Absolutely.
choose to see it in the positive sense and the positive light, or you can look at it in a negative way. And sometimes when we're on that bottom, everything seems dark and negative and whatever, but it comes from the message that you tell yourself, right? And so
Exactly.
you can tell yourself a different message. It's hard at first and it maybe doesn't feel fitting or right. But the more you practice and the more you do, the more you just raise up and it's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So when someone reads your chapter, did I ask you this? We talked about so much.
I don't
When someone reads your chapter, what do you hope that their takeaway is?
can never give up. to never lose hope. The answer is there. Whatever it is you're looking for, you'll find it. It's there. Just know that. Just come from a place of knowing that it will be there. It's always there. You just have to look. Sometimes you need to dig a little deeper. You need to look a little farther.
So you need to ask for help. Like, that's okay.
It is okay. It's completely okay. And sometimes when we ask is when it comes too. So that's a very good point. So yeah, just don't be afraid of it. It'll come. It'll be there. Don't give up.
Absolutely.
Can't give up.
Absolutely. Like I always say, when people come up to me and they go, Ayse, I've tried everything. And my immediate response is, you're lying, because if you tried everything, you would have found a way. You've tried everything that you know. That doesn't mean that you've tried everything.
Absolutely. And I would not be here sharing my story in this, my chapter in this beautiful book if that was the case for me, yeah, and all of us too.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So outside of your chapter,
yes,
is there a favorite strategy or tip that you love to share with people?
Favorite strategy. I like to meditate and go within and just quiet the noise. I'm a very high energy kind of person, and I can get carried away really easy. I get excited, and I have to just quiet the noise, which is mostly me, and just listen. So my strategy is, if I'm stuck on something, if I'm troubled with something, or I'm getting anxious about something, just be quiet. Like just do things, whatever that might be. I like yoga. I was doing yoga this morning. I did yoga for about an hour and a half to just quiet myself, even about today, even just coming here and meeting you and doing this today. So yeah, it's just, that's my strategy. Just be still.
Be still. Exactly. Yeah. Be still.
Yeah, it'll come.
There's a mountain. A mountain? Mm-hmm. There's these mountains, and they're so beautiful because they're so grounded. And if we think of ourselves like the mountain, be grounded. And outside the mountain, it doesn't matter what happens. Sometimes there's fires, sometimes there's droughts, sometimes there's avalanches, sometimes there's floods, there's all kinds of things that can be happening. But inside the mountain is always still.
Yes.
And it's always strong, no matter what's going on outside of it.
Yes.
So just be like the mountain.
Yes. Perfect. Well said. I like that. Yes.
So thank you so much, Janelle, for joining us. Thank you all for listening today. And we'll be back again with I Got This. And I look forward to having you there again. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.